Hey, what's up, Street Gods? It's Eric from Street Photography Talk. So today I want to give you guys some practical tips on essentially how you guys could make better pictures. So one of the biggest tips that I'll give you guys in your photography is one of the easiest ways to make a better picture is to look for a simple background. This is a simple concept that many of us forget in photography because we're so overwhelmed by the subject that we disregard the background. So one of the practical tips of making a simple background is the fishing technique. So finding a simple background, essentially waiting for somebody to walk into the frame. And the question you might be asking yourself is, why is it important to have a simple background? Good question. So the reason why it's important to have a simple background is because it's a principle of something called figure to ground. The basic concept of figure to ground is you want a dark subject against a white background, or a white subject against a dark background. And so if I open up Photoshop and kind of give you guys an example, so assuming, let's say, I take this image, and one of the tips I like to do is in Photoshop, open up Gaussian blur, and essentially just blur the image, and just kind of adjust the blur. And you could still see by adding a blur to my image, you could still see a clear outline of the man against the simple background. And even if I abstracted this image and created just an outline of the subject, you could see it's a simple black figure against the white background. And therefore, this is actually a good practical tip of in photography is by creating separation between your subject and the background, it makes it easier for your subject to kind of see your subject. So, for your viewer to see the subject of the frame. So assuming I just make this a clean white background, you can essentially see that this is the basic composition of my picture. And in terms of just kind of creating the composition, I'll press I, I'll get a little bit of this gray here, and then open up the polygonal lasso tool, press L. And in terms of the composition, it's very simple. I've created, and then make this the foreground color. Essentially, this is my composition of the picture. Actually, this is actually pretty good. I'm gonna save that as the example. Eric Kim composition, simple Tokyo. Anyways. And the reason why it's really important to make simple pictures is that Leonardo da Vinci has a great quote is simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. It's actually much more difficult to make a simple picture than a complicated picture. And the problem is the word simple is synonymous with stupid, lazy, dumb-witted, whereas I actually think that the best photographers are the ones who are trying to simplify their pictures and simplify reality. And whenever I look at all my best pictures, they're relatively simple pictures. Is that I like to shoot black and white to make more simple pictures, and just having a simple white subject pop out against a white background. So even if you see this picture, it's a simple white subject against the leading lines of the background. This is another way I was able to make a simple composition through the fishing technique. Or even just a simple picture of a blue square against a blue sky. And therefore, when you're photographing in the streets, you could often ask your subjects to just stand against a simple background. So in this picture, I worked the scene. I was taking a lot of photos of this man, and it was a really hot day, so his partner was starting to wipe his forehead. And the reason I was able to make a good picture is that I just had him stand against a simple gated background. And what the effect of this is allows him to pop out from the scene. And another practical tip you guys could do to simplify your pictures is shoot with a flash. So this is a picture I shot of a woman in Paris, and I only focused on her hands. And what I actually did in Lightroom was there was actually a little bit more ambient background, not much, but I used the adjustment brush in Lightroom to darken the area. Or even in Photoshop, a simple thing is the burn tool, and the reason why the burn tool is able to work is it just essentially darkens your picture. So let's say, even in this picture of the man here, I actually did burn his face in Photoshop. So the effect of burning is that you just darken the scene. And you can see I'm just like kind of blurring in the sky. So if there's any parts of your frame that you want to darken, and I think, yeah, this picture I shot in 2011, to make this effect more dramatic, I just burned in his face. And some people might call dodging, which is the art of brightening your picture. They call this cheating, and they call burning cheating too. But these are all tools that we used in the darkroom in the days of film, and now we have the Lightroom, we have Photoshop, and all these great tools at our disposal. We're no longer photographers, we're image makers, and therefore don't give yourself these silly constraints in terms of what is allowed and what isn't allowed. But anyways, the reason why this picture is a good picture is that it's a simple picture. It's just hands, and I often feel that hands to tell a better story than just showing the whole scene. So the assignment for you guys to do is to try to make simple pictures. And practical ways you guys can make simple pictures. Look for simple reflections. I like the fishing technique is waiting for the right person to enter the frame at the right time. Another practical tip, try and make a simple picture. The decapitation technique, don't photograph people's faces, only photograph the hands. Just keep it simple. And ask your subjects, if you see interesting subjects, ask them to stand against a simple background, like in this picture. And also this picture I shot of this man in New Orleans, looked for the nice colorful blue and orange wall. And yeah, so these are some good practical tips for you guys to simplify your scenes, to simplify your photographs. Looking for simple backgrounds, or in this case, a simple background yet interesting and complex, and just having the subject stand in front of them. So once again, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Keep it simple, and yeah, for more information, I'd recommend going on the Googles, Google Air Kim blog. And if you check out the blog, there's lots of good free resources on how to take your photography to the next level. And if you're really new to photography, just click start here. And I got, all these free articles, got some good products, ebooks, print books, and join the newsletter to hello@erickinphotography.com or whatever. Click subscribe, and always find inspiration, and yeah, keep it simple. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.